Okay, so we've said, let's just recap for the sound. We've said that before even Tom Hardy's come out, we've said that he changed his weight for different roles, where he mentions Bronson and Warriors. Okay, and we've said he does this because we want the audience to know what he is known for in terms of acting and what style of films he does. Okay, as an audience, that makes us feel like he's quite a committed person to these roles. But how can we relate that to the 5 reasons for interview? So let's remind ourselves what those 5 reasons are. Anybody? What are the 5 purposes of an interview? Go on. Research, perfect. Yep. Information, great. Well done. Anyone? No, that's a style. Yep. Interpretive, excellent. Okay, these next 2 are really covered in this interview, so if you can remember it, well done. Excellent, well done, yeah. So enhancement of audience understanding.
What's 3 miss?
Oh, sorry, interpretive.
Thanks.
Okay, and the last one. Yeah! Sorry. I had to get a bit wacky on you. Okay, I won't do the rainbow comment again. Okay, so yes, the idea of being emotional, okay? So let's go back to the fact that we know he is a committed actor, okay, that he's committed to the roles that he does. What then might that be a reason? What's the purpose then? What are we doing straight away?
People don't understand themselves.
Yeah? So enhancement of audience understanding, perfect. Good answer there, okay? So we're enhancement of audience understanding, okay? Because he's an unknown actor, okay? So at this time, like he said, he just finished Bronson. He was filming Mad Max because it's the longest film ever to get made, so it seems. It's actually coming out this year, I think.
Yeah.
But they've had a lot of production problems, okay? But it just shows you that back in, I think it's 2010 or 12, 2010, yeah? This interview's about.
I swear,
5 years ago.
When did he do Bane?
Bane was 2 years ago. Okay? So this was way before Batman.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, this was before Batman. And so, and before Inception as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was pre-big career actually. So you could say maybe this interview kind of was the kickstart to his career, basically. So we definitely have enhanced our understanding of who he is since this interview. It's definitely a fact, okay? And this interview enhanced who we know him to be. That's what I mean, right? So even before he's come out or learn anything about him, we already know what he's there for. We're down with that.
Yes,
cool.
does it say style of him? I mean, no one says what you.
Oh, style of film. Style of film.
And what does it say?
Commitment.
Commitment.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Next quote.
Well, they kind of promote the movie that he's going to be starring in, as in, maybe not Mad Max, but I can't remember what it's called.
Bronson.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, he goes on to speak about Bronson first, doesn't he? He was like, it was just remarkable. He was a remarkable actor. That's always the quote I remember from that. Okay. So the fact that he's calling him remarkable, he's saying, yeah, he was so great in that. He was so great in that. Why would he do that? What's he trying to do there?
Confidence building as well.
He is confidence building, yeah, definitely. We've got a little bit of confidence building in there. What else? What else? Okay, why is he confidence building?
To get to know Scotland more.
Yeah, get to know him.
Comes across more friendly when you're a bit more confident.
Yeah.
Friendly.
Friendly. What by being friendly, how is that going to benefit him?
There was, it just means you can talk to him more and do it, have a kind of confidence.
Yeah, he's going to open up more, isn't he? He's going to reveal more about himself and get some more exclusives, which is what Ross's job's to do, is to get that kind of information. Oops, sorry, from him. Okay, so to gather information. Okay, so that could be another reason from him about the interview. What else? What else could we say about him talking about Bronson? Okay, who has seen this interview before?
Not this one.
Who's seen Bronson before? Who would want to go see Bronson after watching that interview? Okay, so what's it done then? It has promoted him, that's right. Yeah?
It's made the audience more interested in him.
Yeah, so an interested audience, okay? They are engaged. Okay? Who fancies Tom Hardy? Anyone fancy? Come on, ladies. Yeah? Any fellas? It's alright? Putting out there. Any fellas fancy Tom Hardy? Okay? Okay. Okay. I'm going to embarrass Lorna. Does everyone know Lorna from these singles? Lorna? Everyone know Lorna?
Yeah.
So Lorna was like, oh, yeah, he's well hot after watching that interview. She was like, yeah, I really fancy him, yeah? So actually, that interview has caused her to find him slightly attractive. Okay?
Oh,
So now we
seriously,
use
really?
Ellie, my puppet for that, so sorry, Ellie.
He's wearing
Okay?
Yeah.
No, hair is awful. Teeth look pretty bad, okay? But I quite like the accent. The accents are quite cool. Okay, so what is that doing then? Okay, if Ellie has got the hots for Hardy,
Make him go as weak at the knees.
yeah, which is doing what then? What's the reason for it?
emotional.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we can talk about the fact that he has emotionally drawn us in, okay? We're emotionally attached to Hardy now, okay? We could also say that this section is giving us more information about him, which is also enhancing the audience's understanding, which then leads us to being emotional again. So it could be all loads of these reasons, okay? There's all different purposes going on here, okay? But you don't have to talk about all of them, you can just choose one of them. Got to. You could also, no, actually. Yeah, leave that there. Okay, cool. Well, give me another example. Promotional. Jason, give me an example where he's being promotional.
Well, I think the whole time when he's like addressing the audience, but he's always very enthusiastic and he looks directly into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I think it's just sort of
It's kind of showman, isn't it?
yeah,
I know what you're saying.
it's quite
But-
direct how he's thought.
Yeah, definitely. So, like the body language and actually his expression. Can you think of anything that he specifically says, though? Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be Mad Max. Yeah, that's alright, I'll come back to you. That's alright. Okay, so Mad Max, okay? But yes, you're right, Jason. And that is the sort of thing that you need to be writing with these bits as well. Do you see what I mean? So rather than just going, he just says this, so that's promotional. You'd be like, well, yes, actually, it's more than that, okay? He says Mad Max. What does he do, Jason? Let's go with some body language chat here.
Well, he sort of raises his arms and then points at him.
Yeah. He kind of points or gestures towards him at this point, doesn't he? Yeah, so, Mad Max, everyone! And what does everybody do? They start cheering. Yay! What's Hardy's reaction like here? Anything else? You're right. Yeah. Yes, he is. Right, okay, that's good interpretation. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. There's different ways you can take this, okay? And this is where you were being interpretive about the interview. So Kameli's saying she thinks he's quite humble. I would agree. I think he is being humble, but also slightly uncomfortable. He kind of like body language, people. Hello. Do you want to wade in on this point?
Yeah.
Okay. What's his body language like?
Who's?
Hardy's.
Oh, Hardy's.
Well, we've talked about Mad Max, everybody. What does he do?
It starts off complimenting him, but when Jonathan Roscoe is a bit personal, I'll stay back and tell that when he closes up a bit.
Yeah, hang on with that one. Just back to the Mad Max when he's just going, Mad Max, everybody. What's Hardy's reaction?
Kind of looks at the audience.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. We can definitely be adding more here.
He's nodding his head more than talking now.
Yeah, he's kind of a bit like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to Pamidi's humble, because I think she's spot on. Come on, Pamidi, tell me about it. Why is he being humble? What indicates this? With his body language.
When they're cheering and stuff, he's just like, he's not smiling or anything, or like acting cocky or anything. He's just like quiet and he's just looking to the crowd.
Yeah, he's kind of
He's
got
not praising.
He's not gloating either.
Yeah.
not gloating. Yep. He reacts like this. Right, so do you want to meet Ross for a minute? Put your hand up. This is actually the expression he pulls at one point. What's that expression?
It's kind of a bit shy.
Oh,
He doesn't want the attention really.
Yeah.
It's the same when they mentioned about him being sober as well. He's like, oh no. This is like,
Yeah, that's where it gets worse, doesn't it? And this is actually, without being, so when you've got Paxman, who's explicitly combative, that in itself, given the context of the type of interview it is slightly combative. Okay, in the sense that he's kind of arguing against the system of what's proper, okay? So, usually celebrities go on there, it's like, we've got your new album, like, it's wonderful, isn't it? I'm marvellous. He's just like, ugh. And this is also to do with time frame, okay? This is probably his first interview on British television at this point in his career. Okay, so he's made it enough to be on telly and to be interviewed. He's not massive, okay, but it's a big step for him, which is probably why he's humble. Not completely why he's humble and such, but why he might be a bit nervous, and it kind of shows at this point anyway, because he's like, oh, yeah, I don't like the attention and stuff. Okay? But it depends how you interpret that. You might be like, you might be humble. At this point, you might be like, oh, that's not the right reaction. And it does get worse in some ways, okay? But this is where you are interpreting about the interview, okay? So it's all coming in together here. So that is good, okay? Anything else about the Mad Max part? How could we relate it to purpose then, at this point? He's going to be Mad Max, everybody. Woo! What are we going to say? Is he done is the reason to do research?
Is it?
It could. Yes, I definitely say it's informational here. Okay, you have learned some information that he's going to be Mad Max, a cult film. Okay, what else? Enhancement of audience understanding of the situation. And again, it can be emotional, because look at the crowds go wild for Hardy. Woo! We love you, Hardy! Not like that, but yeah. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to have to write your other board. Okay. Last but not least, Jason. What is the whole point of this whole interview? Why has Hardy decided he's going to go on the Jonathan Ross show, except for being contractually obliged to go on it? What film is he on there to promote? What is his current film, Jason?
Warrior.
Yeah! Yeah, he's on there to promote Warrior. So, he will have signed up for Warriors, and they will have said, right, okay, as part of your deal, part of your package for the payment for this film, you've got to do some promotion, mate. Okay? You're British, let's get you on British TV. You can do that promotion. We'll get Joel something or another who else is in the film. He can do some American side of it because he's American, I think. And yeah, and also Hardy can go to America, but he's got those teeth and they don't like that. But you're going to go to England and you're going to promote the film, right? So we can get some big money, okay? And that's part of your contract to do that. Okay, so that is why Hardy is there. That's his reason for going on the show. Okay, Ross is just because he's got to make a TV show. He's got to promote it because that's the current thing. He doesn't do it. That's going to annoy the film executives and Hardy's team. So Hardy probably won't go back because he hasn't talked about what he wants to discuss. It's a nice little negotiation deal here. Okay, so definitely this is what the promotion is about. Leading to this. How do we think Jonathan feels about this film though? How does he feel about Warriors?
It's quite rude, like quite violent from the approach where he asked him about bones breaking.
Yeah, eventually when he got some information out of him,
Yeah.
but initially, what does Ross say to Hardy about this film?
Is it a low budget film?
It was, yeah,
Oh,
fair.
a young director, but wasn't it? Or was that other film?
So what's this film you got? The Warriors, this Warriors or something?
Never really heard of it.
Yeah. Is that very good research? I did not know the name of the film? Or is it deliberate?
I think it's different.
Yeah, it is deliberate. Okay? But why be deliberately rude? That's my question. Because surely you come onto the show to in the interview about that.
What do you want?
Maybe he was not doing deliberately rude, okay? But he seemed a bit more excited about Bronson, didn't he? Than about this Warriors film. He called his performance in Warriors remarkable. This, he can't even remember the name of the film at this point. So why is he doing that?
To get a reaction.
To get a reaction from what?
From Tom himself. He wants a reaction, so he'll describe the film for him.
Yeah. Opening discussion. Okay? So then, we could say that this Warrior film, or The Warriors, okay, is a secret key question. He's trying to sneak it in. Well, don't you be sneaky, Ross. We know it's a key question. He's trying to play it cool. It's like he's going on a first date with Hardy, and he knows all about him. He's like, no, I'm just being cool here. Okay, he knows it. He's done his research. He's not stupid. That's what he gets paid to do. He knows about it. He's just lying because he wants to look cool. Because who wants to date or go on a date with someone where they know everything about you? It's just a bit creepy, isn't it? Well, eventually after time, but when you first met someone, you know.
Unless you're stalking.
It's a bit stalkerish, isn't it? Yeah. So he does it to kind of play the cool card. Cool. What do they discuss about? What's this about? What do they say to each other? Yeah, they talk about the training. They talk about the training, okay? Get some, what other styles come into play here? What other styles come into play in this section of the...
You talk about like art and...
Hey, yeah.
Investigate.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 10 million styles going on here. Okay, so if you want to write this interview, rather than like with the other one where it's like, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, you could write this more as a story and then include everything in it. You see what I mean? So at the beginning, where he does an introduction before he goes on stage, we can see that he's being promotional, okay, for the interest of enhancement of audience understanding. He then comes on stage and delivers a second introduction where he's promotional, but he's light-hearted because he talks about reviewers, and we discover from Ross being investigative that he doesn't like football, so he changes the tack, blah blah blah. You see what I mean? So with this interview, it's better actually, or easier in some ways, to write it like a story of what happened, rather than goes, it is promotional because of this. It is this because of this. Do you see how we've drip fed that all throughout this so far? Yeah? No one? Yeah? Yeah. Get that? No? We're confused. Don't be confused. Yeah. Okay. Right. Cool. So it's been light-hearted, it's been a bit investigative. Why do we know that? Why are we being light-hearted?
So,
Quote.
oh,
the broken neck.
Yeah, the whole broken neck gag. He broke his neck? And you don't know about it? Yeah. Investigator?
Could you talk about the drug abuse?
Oh, yes, let's go back. Yeah, we'll go back to that in a second. Just in the section of him talking about training.
Oh, he's asking why he didn't stop. He's like, well, why don't they just stop? And then he explains how they're fighters, so that's what they do.
Yeah, talking about the type. So he was teaching him, okay, about types of fighting it is as well. Okay, so he was investigating that. Okay, and actually, no, I'm going to take this point to talk to Mustafa here.
Wouldn't that be competent?
Wait, yeah, we go. Right, he's slightly combative here, but who's combative?
Jonathan.
Yeah, it's Hardy. Okay, so at this point, do you like it when people get something? Okay, so Hardy's quite combative because he says to Ross, because Ross is like, is that like your arms and your knees and stuff? Yes, Jonathan. Yes, it is. Okay. How many times have I been like, yes, that's a really great piece of work you got there? No.
What is that for? I don't produce what to do.
I haven't done that to anyone in the thing here. I sometimes do. I do it a lot with my year 9s because they don't realise I'm doing it. That's good. Okay. What am I doing?
You're prolonging.
I'm prolonging.
Yeah, like you say, okay, it's like you can't give a straight answer.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I'm going for sarcasm. I was going for sarcasm, but yes, you could say that as well. Okay. He's slightly sarcastic. Okay. Which, given the entertainment format, you could argue is quite combative. Okay. The fact that he's like, yes, Jonathan. Okay, he uses his full name. Do you know what I mean? That kind of tone of his voice suggests sarcasm, which could be negative. Okay, you might not perceive it that way. Again, this is another bit where you are being interpretive. It's how you interpret this interview, not me. But I interpreted that as like, ooh, that's a bit of a sting in the old tail. Mustafa, why do you think Ross was being combative? I'm just interested.
Because he kept saying like, he kept saying he's basically saying whenever you break neck, you should technically stop, right? What? Like kind of hard goes in for his head, but that's the job. That's yeah.
Oh yeah, I would agree with you there as well. So although initially what we were discussing was Hardy being combative, Ross I think is actually quite combative in a way as well because he actually cuts up a lot of what Hardy's saying, and when you're doing an interview, that's quite combative, isn't it? You should let the other person finish what they're talking.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if I'm going to have a conversation with Ellie, hi Ellie, how are you? Yeah, so why are you doing what you're doing? Okay, we need someone who talks to me.
Yeah.
Brandon, hiya. Oh, no, you do talk. You talk loads. No, you do all the time. Look at you talking. Yeah, well, I don't necessarily agree with you actually, because you're a bit quiet at the moment. You see what I mean? So that's quite rude, yeah? Alright, me talking over the top of you. Felt kind of intimidating, didn't you? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so talking over. Talking over. A little rude. Let's put a little rude. Okay? Right. Cool. So, now let's get some reasons in here. Why we've been promotional? What happens in here actually? Who's our wind-up crew? Wind up! Ruben.
Wind up crew.
Yep.
Isn't it?
Oh right, yeah.
What's the wind-up? It's in here as well. It's in this little section going on here.
When there's no order.
Yeah, what's the first line he says before he starts talking about it? Who's about to come on the stage? Who's backstage? Lee! Glee. Sorry, I'm trying to do the Glee theme tune, but I've got some.
Oh, the girl who's
Yes.
from Glee.
Yes, the crew from Glee. They're
Oh,
waiting
it's
to come
one of
on.
them. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Do you know that? Yeah. There's 3 of them from Glee, yeah. They're waiting to come on.
I didn't know
They've
that.
been waiting their time. They're in the green room. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah? How do we know they're going to come on next? What does Ross say? One line.
We've got our first.
No? That's alright, it's alright. Just before you go. Okay, it's quite easy to miss. That is basically a wind up. He's winding down. You're right, this whole section is a wind up because it's the end of the interview. It's the last set of things he's So the last set of things he's going to ask, okay, before the interview's over. It's done, okay?
You mean that?
But that one line tells us he's winding up. Just before you go. It's for people like me, maybe at the time, I don't know, I can't remember what series of Glee they were on. I watched the first series, right? But if I was watching the first series of Glee at that time, which I might have been, okay, I would have been like, oh yes, I want people from Glee on. Who's this guy with his crap teeth? Who is he? I don't know who he is, I don't care about him, I just want my people from Glee. I might change over, I might just go to ITV and watch something else. I might, oh, okay, he's just said it's going to wind up, he's just said just before you go, so surely then it's another minute or so.
Yeah.
10 minutes left. Do you know what I mean? So it's that kind of instigation point, like, actually, we're gonna finish off this interview soon, okay? For the audience to stay in tune, because they might be getting a bit bored at this point. But also, you know, just so we all are clear, so Harley knows it's coming to an end as well, that that's about to end, just those who wind up. Okay, and that is all coming down to this, the big point. Okay, so he's left the kind of key question and the whole point of it right to the end of the interview. Okay, because it'll be the last thing that you remember. Oh yeah, I'm going to go check out that Warriors film because it's out of the cinemas tomorrow.
So is that a film?
Yeah, Warriors.
I want to start this.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Jam's point about being investigative. Okay. Because we have covered, well, we haven't actually covered light-hearted in so let's go to investigative first, alright? Where is he being investigative? The main part of investigative part of it. Part of it.
I said earlier, Jonathan Ross asked Tom Hardy about his past substance abuse or his young life, with Tom mentioning he would use to black out.
Have we all written this side?
Yeah, he would use to black out from his drug injury, and Ross would reply with,
Wait.
Right, yeah.
I don't think he mentioned that.
I am recording this actually, I forgot I did that. So, yes, you're right. So this bit about his drug taking,
Have you got it written?
Okay.
Have you got that written down?
the whole section about him being on drugs and whatever is all about him being investigative a little bit. But why though? Why? So all the points that Jem was saying were correct, okay? Why is he being investigative? Let's relate back to that purpose of the interview here.
So that the audience can have an emotional connection.
Yes, that's definitely one reason, okay? How did you feel about learning about his drug story? Did you just feel one thing? Or?
It shows that, like, I don't know, maybe he's more of a, like, a normal person that he came from.
Yeah, he's definitely relatable, okay? It makes us feel sorry for him. So in some ways, it's kind of saddening, but it's actually kind of joyous at the same time that he's kind of come out of that kind of troubling period, okay? And it kind of leads us to respect him, doesn't it? Okay, we've learned about who he was as well, so we've enhanced our audience understanding, and we've learned some information about how messed up drugs can leave you,
Yes,
to the
yeah.
point where you're naked in front of the barrel of a gun with a cat on the bed and a
And
naked.
because of this, it also affects his confidence because it makes him kind of like, because it's probably not the best thing to talk about your past and drug abuse, and then he's a statter, I think.
His wife-
His wife though,
Yeah, and his wife's there.
That's
he's
his
like-
first ever interview.
Yeah, and he's
First ever interview on
so the
television.
confidence.
Jonathan Ross starts talking about drugs.
Good, right, now we're getting into the
Yeah.
distinction area, people,
So it's
okay?
confidence.
So the impact of him being investigative is what do you think then?
Affecting his confidence.
Negative.
negative.
It's quite negative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now actually, Ross made a bit of a boo-boo here, didn't he? He wanted to make it comical, but actually, thinking about it, he nearly died from drugs and alcohol. And it's a subject that he actually found quite hard to talk about at his first interview, so it was quite a negative thing to bring in. So, yeah, he actually says to him, this is just no joke, which then leads on to changing the subject. So, Ross, who's been a sort of interviewer for years and years, okay, very skilled in doing it, actually made a bit of a mess up there, to be honest. Great, and that's how you get the distinction. So you've talked about what the technique is, you've given your examples, why he's implemented it, this is where you get into the distinction, giving your opinion saying, well, actually, that was a bad move, Ross, because Hardy reacted the wrong way about it. Okay? So that is your distinction line, basically, people. So if you do that for promotional, so like he's actually great at promotional, would we say he's pretty good at promotional? Doesn't even feel like he's kind of talking about the product.
It's kind of like,
Oh yeah, he's always
kind of
like
slided
that.
in.
Every interview I've ever seen with him, he's like, oh, this is a fantastic album. This is a great program. No, you're a creep, man.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good actually, Louis. Thank you for addressing that because you feel he's not very good at it then.
No.
Because you feel he's over the top and creepy. Go on, Jem. What do you think?
I feel like he's on the edge his way, like with the what's it called Mad Max. Like he out of nowhere just came like from a conversation, and it led to that, and and it got promoted even more with the fact that Mel Gibson used to play it.
There you
So
go.
because that Mel Gibson's a famous actor, he's playing the role of what he played, so it makes it kind of bigger.
That's it. And I definitely I'm in the middle because I think Ross sometimes goes too far with it, but sometimes he actually does it sneakily that you're like, oh crap, this has got to be. Like he's trying to promote this bloody
Sometimes,
thing.
like, I watched one the other day. I was watching one. Jonathan Ross was interviewing Kevin Bridges, the Scottish comedian.
Is this on ITV?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I've got my opinions about that. Go on.
And
Yeah.
he was just going, oh yeah, you're a fantastic comedian. Oh, your DVD's wonderful. I'm just like, man, come on now. Just like, calm down. Like, get your head out of your
Do you watch any of the American chat shows?
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like
Which ones do you watch?
in there.
You watch Ellen. Okay. How does Ross compare to Ellen then? Something like Ellen. Do you think they're very similar, or do you think their styles are completely different? Yes, it is.
And it's got
Why?
and it's actually got a target audience. I think Ellen, it's got a female audience.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Ross is a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of gender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ellen, I feel, is like very emotional at times. Like really in your face. Like literally like, here, you're here for this Apple Mac. Look at it, everybody. You should go and buy it. And for the competition today, you can win one of these. It's like, whoa, because it's America, and America very much over there with chat shows is all about the promotion, and it's very obvious. Except for something like Jimmy Fallon, actually, because he does it a bit more subtly, but that's because he just jokes around a bit random.
She gives away free stuff. Right?
She does, yeah, loads of free stuff. I mean, like, we're talking gadget show, like,
Concert tickets.
yeah. But yeah, that's a style where they're completely.
I even think like probably no one remembers him, but this is going to sound like
You're going to say Parkinson,
No,
aren't you?
no, no. It's like I think Paul O'Grady would be even better
Yeah.
than Jonathan Ross because he always sort of had his own opinion.
Mm.
I'd say, oh,
He
yeah,
was
this-
very good, actually. I really missed Paul O'Grady interviews because he did have a chat show, didn't he?
Yeah.
A really late one. I loved it, but he said it was just because I think he was just having heart problems, and that's when he stopped. But he was great. By hands down, that was the best thing I think he's done actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great interviewer. Parkinson was alright, but very kind of too. But yeah, so this is what I mean. So you're making these kind of key points about different techniques, but you've also given your kind of opinion on them, or talking about the impact of them, sorry. Alright, and then at the end of the interview, you talk about the strengths and limitations, so like a summary. Okay, and that's what a lot of you need to do with the caption and stuff. So, is his style combative impacting on the interview? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The fact is that that's just meant to be a discussion about hard news, but he is just so rude all over it. Okay, that certainly the fact that he's adopted a combative style has a massive impact on that interview. It's not always for a positive thing, but it dominates the interview, does it not? Yes, yes. Okay? And that's how you get into the distinction. So I'm glad we mentioned that. I know I've gone a bit, I'm all over the place here. Okay, we've talked about investigative, light-hearted and entertainment. Let's quickly cover that. How long have we got? 10 minutes, right? We're going to have to wrap this quickly up.
Yeah, so, an interview is quite light-hearted with a few jokes. An interview is mainly used for entertainment and promotional purposes, but with the humorous atmosphere, it's quite light-hearted.
Yeah.
But then it does lead to, because of the report, he's kind of failing to engage with Tom Hardy. And so it's kind of hard to create a light-hearted mood.
Yes, definitely. And it fluctuates throughout the interview. So it's going back to this point about whether is Jonathan Ross good at what he does. I would definitely say he is good at promotional, but he is a bit over the top, like Louis said. But certainly with the light-hearted and entertainment of that, he is quite entertaining, isn't he? We enjoy his jokes about the Verudas, okay? We enjoyed his bit where he's like, a broken neck? Oh my god, how can you not know about broken neck? So there are loads of examples in this where he's been light-hearted and entertainment. So we've said Verudas, broken necks. Give me another one. The teeth, yeah.
He's very quite relatable.
When Tom Hardy gave
Knitting a cat, who knits a cat?
when he made a slight innuendo about Jonathan Ross's one arm.
Could you say, because he also does comment on the music when he came in, it's quite lively.
Yes.
Quite,
Yeah, he
it's a
did,
major
and
tone, and so
that's-
he comments and creates,
Makes a
opens
light-hearted.
it light-hearted. Yeah.
Cool. I am going through this really quickly, but we have got it on recording, okay? So, multiple and open questions, fill of them. Give them to me.
You asked about where he's from.
Where he's from, yeah?
Basically, he said that he's from South London, but it's like multiple different accents at once.
Yeah, so it's quite open, that question. Where are you from? He's like, well, I'm from, right, South West London. Yeah, cool.
Presents information to the audience.
Yeah, so just in that question is really informational, so we're enhancing our understanding of Hardy. Sorry, I've been speaking because you're a bit quiet for the thing, so I'm just repeating what you said, yeah.
He starts to say he starts speaking by saying, "Oh, do you like football?" And he realizes that he doesn't actually like football, and then he just comes up with like as a joke.
Yeah, so he opens it up to say, do you like football? He's like, no. So then he takes a football-related thing that will get the audience on board and might get Hardy on board if he has been watching the World Cup, which he hasn't been watching the World Cup. But he does it so that the audience kind of links with Hardy. So that he's kind of going, right, Hardy, everybody's interested in this World Cup. Have you actually been paying any attention? You haven't been paying any attention. Well, anyway, there's a silly thing in the World Cup, okay, that you can just have a little bit of a joke about with me, and then the audience might like you a little bit more and become a bit emotionally attached to you, so they're more likely to watch your films. So if you can do that, great, is what's going on. And he kind of answers, but he's a bit like, no,
Kind of
really?
blunt.
Do I?
It's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't want to, do as you say, Ross. And he's like, oh, okay. So Ross then changes tacks, doesn't he? Can you give me a good example? Because they were quite open questions, not necessarily multiple. A good example of multiple question use in that interview. Yeah, it's more than one question. Where is he pestering him? Think about investigative. Yeah, he's like, when did it start? How did it begin? How did it progress? It's like 20 questions. I was like, what? Like, come on.
He was asking about how the diet was
Yeah, how would it?
When did you start getting it?
That's it.
And
Yeah.
he
So
said
it's all about how
he
it's
said
expressed.
everyone's had a night like that.
Yeah. Again, him trying to be light-hearted
Humorous, basically.
doesn't quite work. But yeah, he uses multiple questions then because he's trying to draw out an answer. Does it work, though? No, it doesn't really work because he doesn't really want to talk about it. Okay, but throughout this interview, there are loads of multiple questions. Why does Ross endorse multiple questions? Why? Why?
Why doesn't it?
Yeah, he's getting more information. Okay, because if you ask one question, you're only going to get one answer.
And with Tom Hardy, yeah, the way he answers them is kind of like shortish. So he asks like questions to get more information.
That's it. Yes, because he's not willing to give up information easily. So if he asks us multiple questions, he's going to talk more at him. Great. Introduction we've kind of covered. Body language, people. Can we get some of your expertise on the subject? Any areas that we haven't covered that you want to talk about? Hang on.
You said that Jonathan Ross is quite like close to Harvey, like in terms of like leading.
He does, yeah. He's all over him. Like hiya. Yeah.
He's like facing him like dead on like.
He's like literally leaning on the desk like, hi, through you, Ruben.
That's so nice
Yeah.
to meet you. Like,
Lurching.
yeah.
And like he's leaning back, but on the sofa.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, that.
Get away from me. Not all the time.
Yeah.
He does, he's quite fidgety as well, isn't he? He's a little bit awkward. Crosses his legs a lot, arms, looking to the audience for support, probably his wife, because she's out there, or his missus, not his wife at that time. He's looking around. Okay, obviously first interview, bit awkward, okay? But let's talk about that in terms of the techniques throughout the interview. Confidence building.
Why do you charge it?
He's like, at the start, he said,
Oh,
"This is the most
I thought you were gonna get it.
gifted actor of our generation." So yeah, he says that like right at the beginning.
Yeah, he says he's one of the most gifted actors right at the beginning of his generation. Yeah.
And when he's winding up, he also says, "You are a tremendously talented actor and you deserve success."
Yeah. What? Why are you doing this?
To make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Confidence building.
Yep. So that he reveals more. Does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't all work until he fucks up.
Because it ends after that.
Yeah, but he uses it all the way throughout. It's not just at those 2 points. There's loads of examples of him, like making Little Ross. Bronson, what a remarkable film that was. Well, you were tremendous in it.
Compliment.
You're really gifted. That's some accent, isn't it? Even like something like that, he calls it a weird accent, but he does recognise that as a talent.
Like, you know when he speaks about the whole when he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, when he was an alcoholic, yeah.
Congratulates him for being sober for 7 years.
Yes, that's the most awkward bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, please, he's actually like, stop clapping me. Like, please stop clapping me at the audience. And they're like, whoa! He's like, yes, it's like great. And he's just like, stop doing that. Yeah? Please. Literally don't want you to clap for me it's over. Okay, I have realised that I've talked for about an hour and I wasn't meant to. That was a long time, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a
That's
shadow
a lot of talking. Okay, did we get some good notes here?
Yeah.
Well, we've got the voice hammer.
Miss, I think I've started me already. Started already.
Oh, have you started already?
Yeah, I've started.
Oh, that's alright. Okay.
So we need to put it on the.
I was going to say, just put it, yes,
I've
you...
Did you?
Yeah.
No, I will, if you share it with me, I'll put it on something
Oh,
and distribute it.
I already posted mine anyway. So.
Oh,
It is
okay,
right,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can look at that.
Alright.
Yeah, I want that.
Okay, so yeah, this essay can just go underneath the Paxman one because that will just be easier because it's all going to go together anyway at the end. And hokey pokey that. You can pack away. Didn't realise I was going to talk for an hour. Didn't mean to. I was going to have a conversation with Ellie, which I will have now.
Right, done like
So once you're packed up, you may go pretty much. Just get some work done, please, because I will remind you again that we haven't got
I
long.
miss,
Oh, Sandy, I need to write your next memory as well.
Oh, yeah,
Can I do that this Friday?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When's the deadline for that?
Basically, mate, but if you can do that before that, that'd be great for me.
I'll do it, you can do it.
I'll do it, but do it, yeah? Sorry, I just like the way you said that. Yes. You can just put that in the bin. That was just for fun. For fun. Right. Okay.